The Trump administration is signaling significant changes to the nation's legal immigration system, with plans to overhaul both the path to citizenship and key visa programs. In an interview on July 25th, the new director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Joseph Edlow, announced plans to make the American citizenship test more difficult. Edlow argued that the current naturalization exam is too simple and fails to meet the intended standard of the law. He stated, "The test, as it's laid out right now, it's not very difficult. It's very easy to kind of memorize the answers. I don't think we're really comporting with the spirit of the law." The goal, he explained, is to ensure that new citizens have a more thorough and meaningful understanding of American civics and values, rather than simply passing a memorization exercise. This move is part of a broader effort to tighten immigration standards. Alongside the changes to the citizenship test, Edlow confirmed the administration is also planning to tighten regulations for the H-1B visa program, which is designed for skilled foreign workers, particularly in the tech sector. While specific details on the H-1B reforms were not released, the initiative aligns with the administration's long-stated goal of prioritizing American workers and ensuring that high-skilled visas are awarded to the most qualified candidates. The agency is also reportedly moving to close loopholes in other visa programs that critics claim have been exploited by criminals to gain legal status in the country. While the administration works to reshape federal immigration policy, it has encountered a significant legal obstacle in its efforts to compel local cooperation. A federal judge in Illinois has dismissed a lawsuit filed by the Trump Justice Department against the city of Chicago over its sanctuary city policies. The lawsuit had sought to force the city to change its rules, which strictly limit cooperation between local police and federal immigration agents. However, Judge Lindsey Jenkins, a President Biden appointee, granted the city's motion for dismissal. In her ruling, Judge Jenkins affirmed that Chicago's ordinances are lawful protections and are not subject to federal enforcement mandates. She grounded her decision in the 10th Amendment, which reserves powers not delegated to the federal government for the states. The Trump administration had argued that Chicago's policies, including its 2012 Welcoming City Ordinance, violate the U.S. Constitution's Supremacy Clause, which establishes federal law as supreme. But the judge rejected this, writing that forcing compliance would be an end run around the 10th Amendment and constitute the exact type of direct regulation of states that the Constitution bars. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson celebrated the decision, stating that the city is safer when its police can focus on local needs without being compelled to cooperate with what he called the administration's reckless and inhumane immigration agenda. This ruling marks a notable setback in the administration's nationwide campaign against sanctuary jurisdictions, which has included similar lawsuits against New York City and Los Angeles. That tension between federal and state authority is also at the heart of a new, unprecedented legal case filed in Texas that could reshape the national debate over abortion access. A Texas man has filed a landmark wrongful death lawsuit in federal court against a California doctor, alleging the physician murdered his unborn children by mailing abortion pills across state lines. The case, Rodriguez versus Coito, is the first of its kind to directly challenge state shield laws by reviving a long-dormant federal statute. At the center of the lawsuit is the Comstock Act, an 1873 anti-obscenity law that prohibits mailing any materials related to abortion. Though it has gone unenforced for over a century, the law remains on the books. The plaintiff, Jerry Rodriguez, claims that his girlfriend's estranged husband purchased the pills from Dr. Remy Coito and pressured her to take them, ending 2 pregnancies that Rodriguez says were his. The complaint cites a $150 Venmo payment as evidence. Representing Rodriguez is Jonathan Mitchell, the conservative attorney who architected Texas's restrictive SB 8 abortion law. His legal strategy is notable. By filing a civil wrongful death suit directly in federal court and invoking the Comstock Act, he aims to bypass California's SHIELD law. These laws, passed in several blue states, are designed to protect their doctors from out-of-state legal action related to abortion care. The suit alleges that Dr. Coito, who is not licensed in Texas, violated not only the Federal Comstock Act, but also Texas state law, which requires abortion drugs to be administered by an in-state physician at a licensed facility. The lawsuit seeks more than $75,000 in damages and a permanent injunction to stop the doctor from mailing abortion drugs. Legal experts are watching the case closely, as it could establish a new template for anti-abortion litigants to target the supply chain of abortion pills nationwide. 3 years after the Supreme Court's Dobbs decision returned abortion regulation to the states, Dr. Coito has not yet filed a response or commented publicly on the case. Turning now to foreign affairs, the United States has escalated its campaign against the government of Venezuela. On Friday, the Treasury Department officially designated the Cartel de los Soles, or Cartel of the Suns, as a specially designated global terrorist entity. The name Cartel of the Suns is a colloquial term referring to high-ranking Venezuelan military officials who wear sun insignias on their uniforms and are allegedly involved in drug trafficking. This powerful designation is a significant move that blocks all property and interests of the group within U.S. jurisdiction and broadly prohibits any Americans from engaging in transactions with it. U.S. officials accuse top members of Venezuela's socialist government, including President Nicolas Maduro himself, of leading the cartel. The Treasury Department alleges that the Cartel of the Suns is deeply involved in large-scale drug trafficking and facilitates narco-terrorism that directly threatens the national security of the United States. In a statement announcing the action, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the designation further exposes the illegitimate Maduro regime's facilitation of narco-terrorism. This action under counterterrorism authorities represents a hardening of Washington's stance. For years, the U.S. has used sanctions to pressure the Maduro regime over accusations of corruption, human rights abuses, and undermining democracy. By formally labeling the government-linked cartel as a terrorist organization, the administration is intensifying its efforts to isolate Caracas on the world stage and cut off its financial lifelines. And back on Capitol Hill, Republican lawmakers are laying the groundwork for a major new economic initiative. The House Ways and Means Committee held a special field hearing yesterday at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley, California. The hearing was titled, "The One Big, Beautiful Bill Delivering for the American Economy," a name that clearly echoes the rhetoric of President Trump. The choice of the Reagan Library as a venue was highly symbolic, signaling a focus on conservative economic principles like tax reduction and deregulation. While the full details of the proposed legislation have not yet been released, the hearing served as a high-profile platform to champion the party's economic vision and build public support. The discussion is believed to have centered on proposals for a new round of tax cuts and regulatory reforms, aimed at stimulating economic growth and framed as a successor to the major tax legislation of 2017. This event marks the public start of a push for what could become the signature legislative effort of the current Congress, as the majority party seeks to build momentum for its economic agenda heading into the fall legislative session.